Hi there folks, welcome back to another Tayar podcast session with me, Gavin. I just want to start off by saying thanks to everybody who has listened to both part 1 and part 2 of the Heartland Festival review that we did. I've also received some feedback from the bands as well, so the Eves, they've had a listen to it, thank you very much. Martin Mulady, he's also had a listen, as well as the boys at Cloud House, so thank you very much to both of them. Very much looking forward to seeing all the bands that I saw again. I was very impressed. I hope you guys go and check them out as well. It's definitely worthwhile having a listen to. I know that there's a lot of people out there who are interested in modern music, and I highly recommend them all. But this episode is about my review of Saturday, July the 26th at Perth. It was the Joan Knight Studio at Perth Theatre. First time I was ever there, and I saw 3 bands. Opening bands were Visha, Time Stands Still, and then the headlining act was a band called We Came From Wolves. So first of all, I'll talk a wee bit about the venue, because I've never been there before. A few years back, Perth Theatre actually had a bit of a development, and the entire interior has completely changed. Previously, when I used to go to it when I was a young kid and used to go to the pantomime, I used to enter from the high street side, and I remember it being a long corridor, and you kind of go upstairs and sort of almost zigzag your way along eventually. But now it's actually, they've opened and converted the back of the building. Access is far much more better there. Yes, it's disabled friendly and all that sort of thing. There's elevators to take you up to the several floors that they've got, and there's a big staircase as well. But it's extremely modernised and it's extremely professional looking. The bar was there. I believe they had a selection of beers and wines and whatnot. I didn't really have anything because I drove down. But yeah, I mean, all the people who were there, they were super excited to be there. It was just such a beautiful experience. I met loads of people. I met a friend, Lauren, if she's listening. Nice to see you again and catch up. And then obviously from Visha you had Alex, who I haven't seen in a while. And then surprisingly, one of the bands, a friend David Stobie was playing in them as well, and I had no idea. And then the We Came From Wolves friends, you had Chick. Chick's a local producer. He does a lot of punk stuff. He's absolutely phenomenal. So I highly recommend if there's anybody listening and they want some production done on their songs, definitely hit Chick up. You can find him on Instagram. And then obviously there was a few other kids, one of them being Scott Henderson. Amazing to see him. The last time I seen him, I think, was outside the pub, and we were chatting about music gear, and that was, what was that? Must have been about 5 years ago. A time before that was at Tokyo Haneda Airport, but that's a different story. So it was a beautiful surprise to catch up with so many people. Yeah, it was a fantastic night. So pushing on with it, first band we're going to discuss is Visha. Now Visha, I think Visha is comprised of members from different bands. I believe Sean, the guitarist, played with the drummer. Forgive me, I've forgotten his name. But yeah, Alex, she's the singer, and she is the fiance of the drummer. But I believe Sean and the drummer, they used to play in metal bands or met through metal bands together, and that's how they come together. So yeah, Visha very much gave a not necessarily a dark and ominous sound, but it was very much a discreetly heavy sound that night. I thought they were really good. Alex, I knew Alex from a band called Astrophy, so when I was at college with a few people, she formed a band with them, and they were kind of an alt-rock, post-grunge thing. Really cool, did enjoy them, they were really interesting, but since sort of the bands have kind of disbanded due to the pandemic and whatnot, the members have kind of floated here, there and everywhere, so they're all too far and busy, I think, to rehearse. So Alex has got involved with this new band, Visha, and all I could say for Alex is her vocals have definitely improved. Now, I don't mean that in a negative way. It's not to say that our vocals were not as good as before with Astrophy, because I feel that they fitted well with the genre that Astrophy performed. But just her entire stage presence, just her entire vocal performance, I just felt it was more, how would you say, other than tight, really. It was well rehearsed, it was well projected, and I was very impressed with Alex. Really impressed with it. Sound wise, the first thing I kind of thought about was like a 2000s, late 90s, 2000s metal thing. Sean done a lot of sort of pan mute chugging. It was down tuned as well. Could be like a B, open B tuning that they used on the guitars and bass. Alex played sort of a lead line, but it wasn't fast. It was more like kind of one note or sort of minimal notes. But the sound was phenomenal. What they were trying to do was amazing. Like, Alex was clean vocals throughout. She was totally brand new. And Sean occasionally came in with the backing vocals, and he kind of growled or screamed or whatever, however you would describe it. So I was definitely shocked, because I never heard of them before. I really didn't know who the support was going to be for We Came From Wolves. And for Visha, I think that was one of their first gigs that they played. Sort of like one of the first few that they'd played. And yeah, I mean, it was, each of them you could tell they were a bit sort of gig experienced, but the whole set really was good. The sound wise, again, going back to it, made me think of Stained, kind of the heavier aspect of Stained. I mean, the drummer wise, there was a bit of double kick, if I can remember correctly, but it wasn't intense like what metal / modern metal is known for. It just had a very cool sound. If they perform with hyperstasis, that would be a really nice gig to go and see, because I feel that both bands would complement each other. Their soundscapes are kind of similar, but they're also unique as well. And I just feel that from a metal perspective, and from an audience perspective, it's not too aggressive. So if you're interested in sort of heavy rock metal music, I definitely recommend going to check out Visha. I know there was a lot of support that came from, I think Alex works at a place, and I believe that she had a lot of support come from there. So well done to everybody that came out to support Visha. That was fantastic, and well done to them. Right, the second band that we're going to talk about they completely blew me away, and to be honest with you, they are the purpose of this podcast. This is Time Stand Still. Now, all the music underneath this podcast is available on their first EP. I've actually managed to order a copy. They didn't have any they did have merch at the gig, but they didn't have any CDs at the gig, so they gave me a link to order it online at this website. As right now, I'm just opening the box. It came in the mail the other day, and it looks absolutely fantastic. It just looks absolutely fantastic. So yeah, so the band's called Time Stand Still. EP or album is called Ghost of Me Volume 1, and it looks extremely professional. Yeah, music wise, when these guys came on, because I'd been following them on Instagram for a little while, I vaguely knew what they were. They were kind of slow tempo, they were more rocky than what they were metal, but 5 instruments. You had Liam on vocals, you had Ian on bass, David Stobie played the drums, and then you had Gav and I can't remember the other guy who played guitar. The stage presence that each of those members had was phenomenal. Oh man, they absolutely blew me away. Now, I know the bass player and the drummer, I don't think they've had much band experience at all. I know the drummer's been playing for 2 years, and that was his second gig, and he was flawless. For the level that he's at, he was absolutely flawless. He was on top form. Everything just fell right in. His grooves, his timing was brilliant. He done, I don't know, maybe it was the nature of the music, but he kind of looked a bit timid behind the kit. But again, obviously that comes from experience. So what I would like to see from him is open up a wee bit more, be a bit more creative, and kind of do fills. Yeah, be a bit more freer to open himself up behind the kit. But again, don't take that as a massive critique. You'll get there eventually. As I say, he's only been playing for 2 years, and for him to have performed his second gig, I know I would be extremely nervous. But David was absolutely fantastic, and my eyes were focused on him along with the singer Liam. For most of the set, I just thought they were absolutely amazing. Guitar wise, yeah, again they weren't necessarily chuggy, they were more kind of strummy. Both guitars kind of complemented each other. One would play a lead line, but the other was playing sort of arpeggios and picking chords underneath. Really good, really, like, this is well rehearsed material. The bass player as well, he just sat right in the pocket. He didn't overplay, he didn't do anything kind of ridiculous, and it all came together so good. It looked like the bass player and the second guitarist were a wee bit cramped on stage from what I thought, but they were kind of constantly moving about, and they just looked so happy playing live, and I was just really enjoying it. Liam, who's the singer, I know him, and we've kind of developed a friendship, which is great. But man, he stole the show for me. That was so cool. He came in, and his presence was epic. Like, I don't think I have ever been to a sort of young independent gig. I mean, these guys, I think this was their second show, and I honestly don't recall ever being at a gig where I've seen a singer perform and execute their position as well as what Liam did. Liam stole the show for me that night. He was absolutely beast. He was engaging with the crowd, he was totally into the music, he was totally into the performance. I've totally forgot to say this, but the band walked on stage to the opening of Terminator 2. So the Terminator 2 theme tune, that was awesome as well. That was really cool to see. But yeah, no, Liam's vocals were phenomenal, and his lyrics, now I don't know if it's him that writes the lyrics or if it's a collective process, but his lyrics I was really interested in as well. I'm looking forward to listening properly and analysing properly When You Are Low. And I think it was either Days Like This or The Truth, one of them, and they were absolutely phenomenal. I just was blown away by the talent of that band. Now, I believe that, as much as I say the bass player and the drummer that was there, the second time that they've performed by a gig, I don't think they've been playing much with bands at all, whereas I know that Liam and the two other guitarists, I know that they've got a lot of gig experience behind them, and they've been playing with bands as well. But the whole ensemble, the whole sound structure, it just sounded phenomenal, and I was so glad to have experienced that. I'm glad that once again, like I do with many gigs, that I don't actually go and check the band out. I let the band wow me on that night, and believe me, I was absolutely wowed. Time Stand Still, I highly recommend going to see them, which they're playing at Bannerman's Thursday the 28th of August. If anybody's in Edinburgh, or if anybody wants to go and check them out, yeah, book Friday off and book Thursday off, go and see the guys. You'll get details on their social media pages. Yeah, well done, Time Stand Still. So now that leads us on to the final band. We Came From Wolves. We Came From Wolves, the main guy behind that, Kyle Burgess, he was several years above me when I was at my secondary or high school, so I didn't really know him a lot. I knew that he played in bands such as Pen 15. He was a friend of Chick's as well. They've been going for what, about maybe since about 2010, so what's that, about 15 years or so? When I used to spend time on Facebook, their advert would keep coming up. I would go and I never really checked them out because I wasn't into that genre of music at that moment in time. My interests were elsewhere, so unfortunately I never really paid much attention to them. But now, through Tayar podcasts, I was open for anything. So once again, I'd never checked. I knew the band, I knew of the band, but I never heard what they sounded like. Wow. Again, I mean, they were so professional. Kyle came on, he was extremely nervous, and he said that they haven't played a gig in 7 years. Kind of like the Mirror Trap as well. They haven't played a gig in a long time, but they were flawless. They were so professional. I couldn't believe it. I didn't appreciate how talented and how well rehearsed that each of the four boys were in We Came From Bulls. I thought they were absolutely phenomenal. The show was in support of their new album, which is called In Another Life. You can listen to it. They've got all the tracks released up on YouTube. They'll be able to stream them from Spotify, and I know that it's available on iTunes to purchase as well. They also have, if you click on their social media page in order to get to their website, they've also got merch on sale as well as vinyl. A lot of guys seem to be pushing vinyl now as opposed to CDs. Fair enough, yeah, because no one really has a CD player anymore. But yeah, the artwork looks really, really interesting. And during their performance as well, they had a projector which played this, I don't know, it was like a 45-minute to an hour long video of just a load of different collages that I suppose collectively made the theme for the album. It was very, very interesting, but it was a nice accompaniment to the music. When I started listening to it, I thought, alright, it's kind of an alt rock band, and there was a band that I was thinking about, but I could never remember who it was, and it was Twin Atlantic. They made me think of them when they first started out, and I thought, I've heard this kind of sound before, but it kind of bridged into an alt rock thing, and like an emo thing, because it just, it was like with Cloud House, it just made me think of like an emo thing of the early 2000s, or maybe late 90s, early 2000s. It wasn't this commercialised sound that was projected during the mid 90s. This was proper organic stuff, this was proper passionate stuff. You could hear that they were talking about heartache, and you could hear that they were talking about sort of personal subject matters, and I just really enjoyed listening to the music as well as the lyrics as well. Kyle's the singer and guitarist, but the second guitarist, what he was doing was phenomenal, and both him and Kyle was a wee bit more rhythm based, but what they did was amazing. They complemented each other so well, and the harmonies that they created with both instruments was really, really impressive. And then the bass player as well, he kind of done a lot of the backing vocals, and they were shouty and a bit kind of screamy as well. Kyle was screaming as well, and it just, the whole ensemble, again, the whole sort of timbre just fit so well, and it was such a magical experience. I'm definitely looking forward to seeing them again. If you go online, I know that they do a lot through Bandcamp. I think they've got their full catalogue up there. I listened to a song called Cope. The video is shot in our hometown. It was quite interesting to see that video as well, and just make me think about what life was like when I was growing up at that time, because I think Cope must have been about, was that 2014, I think? 2014, maybe something like that. But this new stuff that they've got, their new album In Another Life, is totally I wouldn't necessarily say it's much different, but they've definitely pushed for something better than what they've had before, and I honestly could say that gig was, they've gained a fan, like definitely gained a fan, because I am very much looking forward to seeing them again. Whether it's the same venue or a different venue, I don't know, but I know that band has got a lot more to offer than the performance on that Saturday night. But that performance was like flawless as well. Everything about it was extremely professional. So yeah, well done, We Came From Wolves. As I say, that was such an amazing night. All three bands performed phenomenally. It was just such an amazing night to be a part of. Time Stands Still, I can't wait to see them again. Visha, I can't wait to see them again. And We Came From Wolves, again, I can't wait to see them again. Each of the bands has gained a new fan, and from a minimal point, I think that's a massive tick from each and every single one of them. And definitely for the people of Perth to actually go out and support them, to first of all to go and support live music of young talented bands. Like obviously We Came From Wolves, they've like 15 years or whatever, but for the past 7 they've never been performing gigs. It was phenomenal to have found that it turned sold out, the venue sold out for that performance. So well done to each and every single one of them. Okay, so that's going to do us, folks. Thanks for listening again, really do appreciate it. Again, if you've got any bands that you've been to see recently, if there's any local talent that you think that we should be going to check out, please let us know in the comments, or you can email us. All the links are available from our social media pages and our YouTube page as well. I think the next gig that we're going to be reviewing is Neil is going to see Fox Bandits, so I think that's the next gig. We've also got, as I said in the last one, we've got tickets for David Delinquent. Hopefully I'll be able to see Martin Mulady play a longer set as well. I'm working on that, and I've also been in talks with Cloudhouse, so hopefully I'm going to be seeing them as well. Thank you so much for listening, we really appreciate it, and go out there, support live music. Thank you. Truly